I want to talk about following your Dharma, even though I don't really know what Dharma means. To the best of my knowledge, and once my friend Ali, Holsworthy Live, the podcast, check them both out. Twitch now available at 7:30. Jesus, I hate this modern day social media shenanigan. How much better was it when there was just MySpace and YouTube? The good old days. Oh, and let's not forget Vimeo, of course. Why is it still there? Just accept that you're Vine. Alright, so the reason that I want to be talking about this is because recently Ali was asking me, did you ever have the inkling that you would be, that you would be successful in your field? The answer to that shortly was yes. The reason that I had that is because I really think that I was just doing exactly what a bird does when it's looking for a worm. Like that sound of a predatory bird that I think does not hunt for worms and probably hunts for other birds. Pretty anatomically accurate. I think from a very early age, I felt most comfortable performing, and so I just kept doing that. I feel the same thing when I'm talking to Neil on the Neil with Jordan podcast. Check that out on this channel. Why not? How convenient is that? At least you don't have to click out and go somewhere else. The internet digital equivalent of crossing the Simpson Desert. Oh, TikTok. Alright, so I think that from an early age, I discovered that when I was on stage, I felt more myself than when I wasn't on stage. I think it is just because that is my Dharma. That is just the same as what a bird does. It is the same as what a badger does. I don't know what they do, dig holes. It just comes naturally to them. You're flowing downstream when you're doing that. When people always say, I don't know what to do with my life, I'm always saying that point. Privately, probably not on this channel, which has got hundreds of videos. I probably should have made it. You should be doing what comes naturally to you. There's always this constant rub up that I have of don't do what you love, do what you can do. There is wisdom to that. But I think that really, they're more or less just interchangeable. The thing that you are good at doing is the thing that you want to do. It comes easily to you, and so you push in that direction. Your job in life is to not get distracted on vacuous bullshit like this. I can't believe it. It's one of the only YouTube channels, it must be the only one that's just like, don't subscribe to this. Maybe just give us a like. Why not? I'm not insane here, Jesus. Not the Taliban of YouTube, just like way off the Richter scale. I'm more like the much more amiable Ayatollahs. So, if you... God, sorry. I've got such an itchy nose doing these videos. I think it's got something to do with the fact that I'm sitting down. Here's a good idea. How about I clean my room? I'll give you some examples of what I mean by Dharma, excluding myself. So I think that yes, obviously when I was performing, I felt natural at it. That's why I started doing it. And this is where I am now. Making a living out of performing. Because I didn't really go for it because of the fame. Fame has never really been a concern of mine. It's just the fact of like, do I feel engaged doing what I'm doing? My eyes light up when I'm there. Kyle Sandilands was talking about it when he was on radio. I just feel happier when the mic's on. There's got to be... What's your golden mic that is switched on in between advertisements for Don Ham? You've got one. Definitely. I think that a lot of the time, people kind of just ignore it, or maybe they're just not even aware of it. Maybe they just haven't tuned into it. But I think that you should just be a talent scout for yourself. See what makes you feel more alive. See what you're good at. See what you're interested in talking to other people about. That's where you should be. The thing that you're always just being like, oh yeah, I'm going to bring this up for no reason other than I like it. And then the other person's eyes glaze over. That's what you should be doing. So you don't bore your friends with it, more or less. You'll probably have better friends as a result. Oh, great. Here comes the guy that doesn't talk about his very specific niche that, only 3 people at Hobbyco and QVB like. So, when it came to Ali, he was just saying it the other day, like when he was just saying that I'm doing a law degree, I was just thinking, that's great, but what you should be doing is being a public intellectual. What you are very good at, and you can check out Holsworthy Live, he clearly excels at it, is being able to distill very complicated geopolitical thoughts, make them as simple as possible so that the layman can understand it. That is essentially what a public intellectual should be doing. is just making this heady academic material palatable for the mainstream. He's good at that. He excels at it. That's where he's passionate. You can see the life build up in his eyes when he talks about it. People like listening to him for it. He gets positive feedback as a result. If he kept going down that path, and thank God that he is now, but if he kept doing that now, he'd be Australia's answer to... Trying to think of someone who isn't Christopher Hitchens, because he's talking about controversial stuff, and he's not a very controversy-confronted man. But, Christopher Hitchens without the thing that made Christopher Hitchens famous. I think that's where he should be. That is his dharma. His dharma is to sit there and read about heady academic subjects, specifically in the field of international politics. He likes doing that. That's his fishing in life. So, another example, I guess, is Mislove, also from the podcast, and Forest Hill, I believe the name of the band is. So, what he's good at in life is talking shit. He's really good at just, running his mouth, flapping his gums about anything that comes to mind, which is a skill. It's, in fact, a skill that can make you President of the United States. He's good at it. So I was saying his dharma, and I've always thought this, ever since high school, his dharma was to be in radio. This is the other thing. You always get this little illusion of what you should be doing. So for Ali, for instance, he thinks he had this little illusion in his head that he should be doing law. I think that his mind is too important for that. No offense to any lawyers watching, but you're basically just a bunch of swim guards. Misloves wanted to be in a band, man. Yes, he's a good musician, but he's a brilliant shit talker. He's amazing at it. He's really funny off the cuff. He should be doing radio. And so I said, as a result, start a Twitch account. And look, let's just see if he actually ends up doing it or not, because, I don't know, this might come as a shock to people who listen to the podcast, but he's lazy. But if he does do it, I think that he'll do extremely well at it. I don't think anybody else could be able to flap their gums for 12 hours and be engaging the entire time, except for maybe Donald Trump. And of course, Grant Denyer. What a successful radio show. So, what is yours? What is the thing that you excel at? I think that a lot of the time when you're saying, but I want to be doing this, it's kind of just this ego-driven illusion. George Carlin was talking about it when he said that he wanted to become an actor, even though he was a brilliant stand-up comedian. Then he started doing a few acting gigs and he realized this isn't for me. He just had this ego build up in his head that I deserve that. I think I had the same thing when it came to radio. I'm not good at radio. What I'm good at is performing. I'm good at sitting there and nutting out jokes and then stating them after really honing in on them. There's a lot more discipline to the narrative than there is of just flapping my gums. I don't think I'm as good off the cuff as I am just sitting there thinking about something for 6 hours. Now, there's other people whose dharma is not that. There's a lot of other live performers that are comedians that they just get up and they just extemporaneously riddle off the cuff. But if you give them scripted material or they have to write their own material, it's poor. It just depends on what your strengths and weaknesses are. So, what's yours? What do you think that you are, actually, if you can do this, let's just make this the homework. Let's just casually like that. Ooh, dharmic. Maybe, if that's what I think it means. An entire video about something I'm not sure about the definition. Okay, here's what I want you to do for your homeworkio. I want you to write down what you want to be doing in life. Then I want you to write down if you think it's dharma aligned, if you think it's dharmic. Are you doing it basically because you have you bought into a narrative of someone else that, this is what success looks like? Because first off, let's just talk about that. That's completely arbitrary. It's the same thing as when you're a 15-year-old boy and you think, wow, the height of being successful is rapping about how many cars and chicks you get. And then you get a little bit older and you realize, nah, look, now that I look back at those artists when I was 15, it only took until I was 18 for them to be completely irrelevant until, someone younger with slightly more relevant tats came along. So that's completely fleeting. The real success in life, I think, and obviously there's a lot of try to it, you can say it in this way of just what you love to do, but I think that the other way, the more impressive cosmic hippie way of saying it is, are you following your dharma? Or are you being distracted? Are you buying into someone else's dream as opposed to sitting there and going, no, this is what I'm naturally good at. This is where the universe is sort of pushing me towards, and am I fighting upstream or am I going downstream? I think that is the best way to decipher whether or not you are following your Dharma. Does it feel like you're going downstream, or do you feel like you're going upstream? Because you can do that. You will get some results, but what easier? Particularly if you spend the same amount of energy of going down the stream, you're just going to go, aren't you? In exactly that speed. That's how water works. It does actually, doesn't it? And a duck is a duck. Quack, 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 quack. As long as you've got an aqueduct. I don't know if anybody would have gotten that reference. It was very, very obscure. It was about Roman architecture mixed in with a Clark rubber ad. Anyway, I think that's a good way to sign off. Like this video and give me more questions. Of red.